Hey guys, Andy here from Mediocre Hobbies, bringing you another 40k character video. You guys seem to be enjoying this series where I go through my backlog and pull out cool 40k characters that I have not yet done on the channel and get them done. I have been focusing heavily on lots of Space Marine characters recently, but I thought I would step away from that for this week, maybe a week or two, and get something a little bit different done. So this one I'm going to tackle the awesome model from the Aeldari range, Jain Zar. She's of course the Primarch, the Phoenix Lord of the Howling Banshees, an absolutely epic character. If you've read about her in novels and books, you know she is nothing but a monster on the tabletop, and I think it's about time that I got her painted for the channel. Before I get into that video, I just want to say a huge thank you to all my patrons. You guys are amazing. Without you guys, I would not be able to continue making these videos. If you want to get involved in that, there's links in the description. You get access to a private Discord server and an extra video every single week. So that's 52 extra videos a year just for you guys. I think that's a pretty cool benefit. Okay, without further ado, let's get painting Jain Zar. Jain Zar is of course quite a large and can seem quite an intimidating miniature to paint, but I'm here to dispel those theories. She is in no way, shape or form a difficult miniature to paint. She's big, she's open, and it's a lot of kind of blocked in colors, so I promise you it's not a terribly difficult process to get her painted. It started with Skeleton Horde, and then I mistakenly applied the Skeleton Horde overall for armor, because I hadn't actually looked at a picture of her before I started. I was kind of had it in my head. I was like, okay, I know what a Howling Banshee looks like. I can just paint away. So yeah, it did go across her entire armor before I realized that from her knees down and her arms and a big piece of her chest armor is actually this black and gold kind of motify bit. So that was my bad. I wasted a little bit of Skeleton Horde there. Added an extra layer of paint where it didn't need to go, but it was quickly corrected because Skeleton Horde is such a light color, and the colors that needed to go over it were quite dark. So I quickly corrected that by grabbing some Black Templar and just painting over those areas that are supposed to be black. I find these areas quite a bizarre choice. I don't 100% understand why they decided to do this. I personally would have liked to have leave it the bone color over the majority of armor, and then just add the gold on top of that. I think that would have looked nicer, to be honest. I don't quite understand the need for the black boots or the black greaves, but I guess that's their decision. I didn't want to stray too far away from the standard one because I presume most people would want to paint it up matching the aesthetic that Games Workshop have chosen. So like I said, I then went in with the gold and painted all of the trim around those kind of black areas, which is a little bit difficult. There's some swirls and a lot of trim, and then of course it goes up one half of her chest. Her shoulder pad, a lot of detail on the weapons she carries is gold as well. So you just have to kind of look and use the images that are on the Games Workshop website to find all those gold details and get them blocked in with the Retribute Armor gold. After that, we just simply grab some Loud Belcher for some other parts. Not a lot of parts, to be honest. It's just the blades. So the blades on her shuriken and the blade on the end of her staff get, of course, done with the silver. That's pretty much it, to be honest. Not a lot of silver, a lot of gold, a lot of bone. So yeah, don't worry about that too much. Obviously there is a much more iconic part of Jain Zar that we need to work on. I wonder if you can pick which detail I'm talking about. That is of course her crazy amount of hair. So for this we're going to go in with the Blood Angel's red contrast. Now traditionally she has a green loincloth and then there is a green ribbon coming off of her staff. I don't know where the ribbon on her staff is. I don't know whether I decided to leave it off when I was constructing the miniature for some reason. I don't know. Or whether it broke off. Once again, I don't know. Looking back now, I kind of wish it was on it, but obviously it would add a lot of movement to the miniature, so I do apologize. So like I said, the loincloth and that ribbon are supposed to be green, but because I'm going to be putting her into a Samhan army, I want it to be red. So I'm going to follow through with the same color I used for her hair for the loincloth. And where the ribbon attaches to the staff, you can see it there, the little white bit. I'm actually going to hit that with red as well and just have it as a bit of tied ribbon around it. Once again, just giving that kind of 3 points of color. And I'm making it match in with the army that I want to build a little bit better. The hair is so well detailed that the contrast really does wonders with it. Adds that huge big splash of color. And I think that's why the bone and gold would have been enough for the rest of the miniature, because there's going to be so much vibrant color from her hair. Seraphim Sepia was then brought in and applied to the entire miniature. This is going to shade it down. All the gold and bone will look really nice after this. It works quite well over the red, as it does have a lot of warmth to it, Sepia. So it does work perfectly. While that shade is drying, I'm going to begin the process of working on her base. So I threw some of my Martian Ironcrust, or the equivalent AK1, on that, and then threw a orange contrast over that when it dried. I then jumped over to layering the armor. So if you want an even quicker way of painting her, you can check out my How to Paint Howling Banshees video, where I did this with dry brushing. I basically worked up the armor first and then painted all the details on top of it. I decided though that, you know, obviously Jain Zar is a slightly more important character, her being a Phoenix Lord. So I did want to lavish her with a little bit of extra time and a little bit of extra attention. But what I do recommend before you begin, if you're going to be following along, watch both this and the Howling Banshee video, and then decide for yourself which route you want to go down with. You can obviously go both ways. You can decide to paint your Jain Zar in the more standard Howling Banshee way, or you can go your Banshees this way, put a little bit of extra effort, make it look a little bit cleaner, but obviously it's going to take a lot more time. That is totally up to you. So I very carefully layered up all of her armor with Wraithbone. It did take about 2 coats to get a nice solid coat. And then it was time to work up that hair. The hair is just 2 layers of dry brushing. It's Mephiston Red and then Wild Rider Red. So the Mephiston Red is quite similar to her original tone, but it's just got a nice little bit of color, a little bit of pop on the raised areas. And then obviously the Wild Rider Red is quite a significant jump. It's got a lot of orange in it. So we're going to hit that with that. Obviously, we're not going to focus too much on the underneath parts. We wanted to hit on the raised parts with the Wild Rider Red, just to make it pop a little bit more. And it's going to leave us with some really nice, stunning hair. I do quite like the Aeldari range a lot, and it's a force that I do indeed want to play in 10th edition. But I think it's something I'm going to have to wait a little bit longer to play, let them get a little bit more balanced, just so my opponent has a chance of having some fun playing against them. As you can see, the Wild Rider Red does add quite a nice punch to the model. I actually finished off the base as the contrast was dry. Went back to Lead Belcher, but this was to highlight both the gold and the silver parts of the model. Really quick, easy touch highlights. Some really, really light dry brushing, even though I'm not using a dry brush, if you know what I mean. Just to catch some of the edges, some of the more raised detail on the headdress, all the bits, all the swirls on the armor, a lot of the weapons, and any other big details of silver, like the blades. All got touched up with the silver, which really helped make them pop. After this, we just grabbed our Talazar blue contrast and painted this on all of the gemstones and the glowing eyes of Jain Zar herself. Now, the original one has kind of different colored gems in the center of the head and the chest. The eyes are then a different color. But I decided I want to keep them all the same. And the blue was obviously going to contrast with the red really nicely, so that's what I decided to go for. This, of course, left me with this result as a fully painted Jain Zar, which I'm more than happy to field in my Aeldari army. I think it turned out really nice. Minimal effort for pretty decent reward. I'm going to show you some nice images of what she would actually look like on the tabletop now. Obviously using a nice dark background, as she is a hunter herself. She strikes out of nowhere. I'm going to show you what she looks like with my squad of Howling Banshees as well, which I think she settles into nice. Even though we painted them in 2 slightly different ways, I still think they match quite nicely. Another close-up with her and 1 single Banshee. And I must say, I am quite pleased with how she turned out. Okay guys, and there we have it. Jain Zar is painted up and ready for the tabletop. As you can see, I already had a squad of Howling Banshees painted up since pretty much the day they came out, so it's been a long time coming for me to get Jain Zar done. Hope you guys liked the video. If you did, make sure you give it a like, ask me any question you want in the comments below, and if you're not already subscribed, like 2/3 of the people watching my videos are, please take 2 seconds out of your day and hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end. I'll see you in the next video.